This is the surprisingly narrow expanse between Australia and Papua New Guinea. Just 4 kilometres separates the two countries here in the Torres Strait. It's a remote part of the world, but it's recently come under increased scrutiny by police. They're patrolling the maritime border, searching for a group of suspected drug traffickers.
The POIs are known for people smuggling and also known for transporting illicit drug across to Australia using their networks.
Just a few months ago, in the PNG village of Mabaduan, police found 5 kilograms of methamphetamine, allegedly destined for Australia. 6 people were arrested. With Australia's soaring demand for illicit drugs and high street value for methamphetamine and cocaine, it's a tempting target for transnational crime syndicates. That makes PNG vulnerable and one of the final stops in what's known as the Pacific Drug Highway. 2 major alleged trafficking plots in recent years were foiled, both involving attempted black flights from PNG to Australia. While it's not exactly clear how these drugs get to PNG, it's suspected they're trafficked in from Southeast Asia or South America. From the capital of Port Moresby, they can be driven along the coastline to Kerema. From here, dinghies transport all types of illegal items from Gulf Province across to Daru, one of PNG's few Torres Strait islands. From Daru, Australia's mainland is a short trip away. From here you can see just how porous the Australian PNG border really is. There's many villages on the southern end of Papua New Guinea here, and to get to the Australian side of the Torres Strait, to Saibai Island, it takes just minutes. The presence of methamphetamine here is extremely concerning to local police and community leaders. They're worried its potential use could cause enormous health and law and order issues.
If there's a spillover effects on meth within Daru Island, we would certainly run to chaos.
In Daru, many already work the black market to get by. As the tide comes in, so too do dinghies full of sea cucumber. Fishermen have spent the night out on the reef harvesting the delicacy, but much of the trade is illegal.
So far, I've been doing this and they put me there at the border, Australian border, and I went for prison terms for 3 years. But I can't stop because there's no other means and ways for us.
It's this desperation to make a living that community elders fear is turning more people in these villages to the growing drug trade.
They are born fishermen, but these new things coming in, like drugs, they get involved because somebody bringing drug is coming with money to pay for their, maybe their accommodation or pay for their transportation.
It's of course incredibly risky, with trafficking attempts often involving long stretches out at sea. In Daru we meet Alfred Adiba, who said his son got on a dinghy with his uncle Peter and another man.
These are the 2 people. They smuggle drugs from here to the Torres Strait Islands and then get guns, money, and then bring them back. Now, if I knew that my son was going with them, I would have stopped him.
Days passed when Peter called his family to say they'd run out of fuel and were drifting out to sea. The 3 men, including Alfred's son, were never found.
Sometimes when people come and, ask me about how your child is, we feel feel like crying. Because he's the child that we loved.
Husbands going out for this type of things, what they bring in their illegal doing, they help the family in this. So when we have like school fees for our children, we pay.
Transnational Crimes Police, as well as customs officers, conduct patrols to try and deter drug trafficking and other illegal activity. There's also cross-border patrols with Australian law enforcement. But it's a massive expanse of sea with limited phone signal. Coastal communities say they want to help, but don't have the ability to quickly reach authorities.
That borderline is my people. Day and night they're witnessing movements of people, and with better communication equipment, it will help. We see it, but we cannot report it.
Both police and community leaders agree that if more economic activity, especially exporting legal catch, can be encouraged, there'll be fewer people vulnerable to being coaxed into working as drug traffickers on the border.
It will be good to, try to look at avenues other than law enforcement. Try to get away the young people's minds away from there, get them away from there, those illegal activities.
The syndicates and those people who are actually involved in this thing has to look very carefully and see the effects that will have in the community. Yeah, that's a big worry for us and a very big challenge for us.